Nothing like a little finance to kickstart a brand new day and a brand new week. And of course, finance firmly in focus with Governor Tito Mboweni's mid-term budget speech now firmly in focus. Many people wanting a positive outlook. Did we get that? Well, we're about to find out this morning. Joining us now via video is Anthony Chait, the CEO of Ziridium, who has his finger on the pulse and is, of course, greatly affected by what was said in that speech. And he is part of the South African Specialist Tax and Exchange Control Advisory consultancy that is Ziridium. So they really are perfectly positioned to give us the inside story. Anthony, a very good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Graham.
Thanks so much for connecting with us. I suppose we're all feeling a little bit bleak. We want some kind of positive news when it comes to the economic situation in the country right now. But let's maybe start at the beginning, and I can ask you this. What were the expectations for Tito Mboweni's speech, and did he give us what we wanted?
Well, Graham, that's an interesting question because we've come through a terrible time, not only South Africa, but indeed the entire world. COVID has been devastating to the economy and affected all aspects of the economy. So I think with that background, Tito Mboweni had to address things like rampant debt and so on. And I believe to a larger or lesser extent, but certainly he did, in fact, meet our expectations, I would say.
Because we know anyone within government now is becoming a part of the PR campaign as much as they are obviously fulfilling their role. After the year that we've had, and I think many of us having to lower our expectations because of the knock that we have taken on just about every level of the economy, right down to us as the individuals. What he has laid out, the way forward that was presented, is that realistic? Do you think it is the right way forward?
So, Graham, I think that he's banking on a recovery because we're out of the major lockdown period, and that was the most harmful. And hopefully now that there is a degree of freedom of movement, people can come out and get the economy growing again. And I think the minister did forecast an improvement. So provided the economy grows in the leaps and bounds that he's hoping it to. I think he's talking about sub-Saharan Africa growing at about 3.1%. Then yes, it probably is realistic, all other things being equal.
I suppose there is also an underlying message of us needing to grab ourselves by the bootstraps and make something happen on an individual level and within the private sector. What would you like him to have done differently? Was there anything that you would have liked him to address that he didn't? Any changes you would have made?
Yes, so Graham, there is the talk of this money being offered by the World Bank or the IMF. And I know that at this stage, the government and the executive have been loath to come forth because of certain conditions that are being imposed. But I think that certainly the minister should freely accept what is being offered, plow it into the SMMEs. There's an industry that I'm very close to, the arts and entertainment industry. People are dying to get back on the stages or into the live music venues. So instead of putting that money into the state-owned enterprises, which I think is the concern, he should put that money available. And he does, in fact, have a policy of financial inclusion. He should fast-track that. And if someone who wants to start a dance studio, say in Langa or Guletu, they should have the wherewithal to be able to apply for funding.
Well, speaking from the perspective of the arts, I say here again, and thank you for skirting a very difficult issue there, making that the breakfast TV version of, I'm sure you've got some very strong opinions in that space as well that you can't air on national TV. So thank you for giving us the PC version. I think many of us want to be positive. It's been such a negative year. How should we be feeling about the economy right now as the man on the street? How should we be spending our money? What should our outlook be economically, do you think?
So, years and years of budget speeches, and this one last week was in fact the medium-term budget policy framework, or what we call the mini budget, and it's always to try and encourage savings. But government has to set the lead here and lead by example and cut its expenditure, particularly in relation to the burgeoning civil service. Some of the state-owned enterprises, and dare I mention SAA, are far too heavy from a cost point of view. So I think generally, whilst we as the citizens of South Africa may be inclined to tighten our belts, so too should the government.
Anthony, thank you so much from your lips, my friend. Let's hope it reaches the right people. But I think the buzzword here to make sure that we are saving and doing what we can, certainly as a small to medium-sized enterprise, to feed back into this economy because we need the growth. Chatting to Anthony Chait, the CEO of Ziridium, talking about the economy and obviously Tito Mboweni's mid-term budget speech.